All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. Yeah.
Hey. Well, I can't see my face. What's happening? Hold on. I can't see my face. Hold on. Sorry about that, guys. All right. So anyway, well, wow, there it is. Hey, it's your girl Sensei for another episode of the Sports Sensei. Welcome for joining us. And thank you for joining us again for another Tuesday. So today, of course, we're talking about Game 7. We're also going to talk about our finals preview. We'll talk about Jimmy Butler. We'll also get into Draymond's recent comments about Steph and KD. And, of course, we'll talk about the NFL because we are 100 days away from the NFL season kicking off. So we got to give our predictions, what team we're rocking with, what we're looking forward to, what we're not looking forward to, all the news that's been going on. So make sure y'all tune in to another awesome episode of the Sports Sensei because this is the best place to get your sports news. But you knew that already because that's why you're watching. So, but before we get to that, and before I introduce my co-host, my awesome co-host, Jay Nicole and Ruth, you know she's the truth. Check out this cool video that we got for y'all. Yo, welcome to another episode of the Sports Senseis, and my co-hosts are in the house.
My bad for fumbling our intro, but you know what? You guys are here for sports conversation, not to watch a pretty video.
That's quite all right. I'm reporting to you live from Las Vegas. I will be back tomorrow morning in Sacramento, but I am still currently in Vegas trying to recover.
City.
Trying to recover, trying to drink all my water, get my toxins back together. But how are you ladies doing today? What's going on, ladies?
I'm doing great. I just signed up for my summer courses at USF, so trying to get back into the college girl mentality, which is never fun, as well as waiting on some renovations to finish at my new place. But I finally got my Wi-Fi up, so I'm recording live here from downtown Tampa, and yeah, life is good, so I'm doing well.
I like it.
Awesome, Jay.
Yeah, I'm here, guys. It's Tuesday night and ready to get into it. We're gonna talk about Game 7, but we're gonna get into this NBA Finals that I'm excited to talk about. So I say, let's get it.
Yes, let's get it. So since Jay mentioned Game 7, we might as well start there. Game 7 was just a few days ago. We all were watching. We all tuned in. It was a down to the wire game. But first, Boston came out firing. Miami had to settle in, and Jimmy Butler does what Jimmy Butler always does, brought him back, and he had a chance to win the game, just short on the front of the rim. So what do you guys think of him taking that shot? Is it one of those things where it's like it's your superstar, so you have to live and die with that shot? Or do you think that he could have made a better play in that situation?
With 20 seconds left on the clock, I think Jimmy probably could have took it to the hole and got a 3-point play by having Al Horford, who was, backpedaling, trying to stop him. He always goes in for that easy foul. So I think it could have been a better opportunity. But I think it kind of chops down to Jimmy Butler being exhausted. Do you guys know that he played every single second of that game? And when Eric Spoelstra was asked by Lisa Salters on the sideline about if Jimmy Butler was getting a rest, and this was late in the third quarter. Eric kind of chuckled and was like, this is game 7. Like, this is what we paid him for. No, he's not resting, and don't expect him to be on the bench at any time soon. So a lot of respect to the team for that, for, you know, standing behind what they believe in. But I think that came down to, or that was the reason why Jimmy took that easy shot. I think it was pure exhaustion. You could see it on his face. Every time the whistle blew, he was really taking a moment to catch his breath and was not, you know, racing down to you know, make defensive plays on the other end. So I think that's kind of what hurt them at the end. But they should have taken care of business in game 6. I mean, they should have taken care of business earlier in the series and not have gone to a game 7. Yes, they had the advantage of being in Miami, but it just was not enough. I think if Miami Heat was healthy, it would have been a different conversation with Tyler Hero not playing much because of that sore knee or the whatever, or the groin injury that he's dealing with. So I think that was a big part of them not having success against our Boston Celtics. But nonetheless, the Celtics won in 7. I was at the music festival this weekend, the Sunset Music Festival, and on Sunday, during one of my favorite DJ sets, I was watching Game 7 because that's how much I care. And it was pretty impressive to see the Celtics stick it out, because I'm really happy for Jason Tatum in this role that he's on. So I want to see him up against top defenders and top offensive players in the league, the Golden State Warriors. So let's do it.
What about you, Jay?
Jimmy Buckets, my dude, my guy. I love you, man, since you were in the Bulls, but I feel like you do have to live and die with him, right? He's still a superstar. He's your number 1 scorer. However, 3 games out of this series, he scored a total of 27 points. Like, he went off last night. He went off in game 6, 47 points. Like, but, you know, hey, was just pure exhaustion playing the game. Hey, let's just pull up for the 3. You got the crowd. You got the momentum going. I mean, I'm not gonna, it was a bad shot. He was wide open. I think if he would have set his feet more, like, I feel like it, you know what I mean? Because when he shot it, he was like going towards it. And if he would have just kind of set his feet more, took a little bit more time, I feel like it could have went in. But that's your number 1 player. That's your superstar. I feel like you gotta live and die with it. He went for it. He didn't make it, right? You know, maybe our team gets the rebound back. You know, maybe he get the rebound back. But like to see that game, to see Boston come out in the first quarter as ferocious as they did, right? But then the Heat come back in the second quarter. Hey, we tied up. We go into halftime. But I mean, is this more? I mean, the Celtics end up pulling off the win, but is it more about them honestly collapsing a little bit? Like, the game shouldn't have really been that close. But I mean, you have your superstar there at home, Jimmy Buckets, and they made it a close game. He gave it all that he had. Wish that basketball would have went in. I really truly think if he would have just set his feet a little bit more, that could have went in, pushed the momentum. They're up. He was wide open. He really was wide open. So sorry to see the Heat not get this. Hats off to Jimmy Buckets. Game 6, 47 points. You know what I mean? They weren't winning that game without him, you know. So I just, man, it hurts my heart a little bit, but I am excited for these Boston Celtics for sure. Excited for Tatum.
Yeah, same. I mean, I think it's one of those things where you definitely have to live and die with your superstar. Like, he's gotten you that far. He's got you to an opportunity to have a game 7, even though that Miami didn't play the greatest in those first couple of games. So you definitely have to live and die with that. The only thing is, I think, like Ruth said, it had to do with fatigue, because the shot was short, and I don't think he had enough legs under him to like get the proper lift on that shot. Because he hit a shot similar to that in the first half, where he was like fully, full strength, full energy, things of that nature, and he knocked it down with ease. So I just think that he played the whole game. Like, I mean, 48 minutes, that's a long time, and and it's been a hard, tough fought game 7 series, and he's had to work really hard, throughout the series. So I think it just caught up to him. But I mean, at the end of the day, at 10 times out of 10, if I'm Miami, I want Jimmy Butler taking that shot. I don't think there's anybody else on that team that I would trust in that situation to make the right decision. And I mean, like I said, if he makes it, then we're having a completely different conversation. So it's just like, it's just one of those things where it's just like, it happened, he didn't make it. You know what I'm saying? You just live with that. You know what I mean? But yeah. before we move on from this series, like something I wanted to point out. A couple things actually I want to point out. So what do we think about Kyle Lowry? Because he played a pretty lousy series this entirety of the 7 games, and a lot of people have been really critical of him. So if you're Miami, do you look to move on from him, or do you bring him back and try to see if maybe if it was it a health issue? Like, kind of what are you guys' thoughts on that situation?
Well, Kyle Lowry is a well-respected NBA player with his championships in Toronto, being a member of the Raptors, and he has a lot of veteran experience. But his health does come into question, so that is an issue that the Miami Heat really need to be prepared to take on. Maybe they need to manage his minutes better in the regular season, because obviously know that playoff push is more important than winning or having the most wins in the regular season. I mean, but then that comes down to a lot of the superstars sitting out that people don't want to see happen when it comes to them spending money to go see their favorite players play in the NBA. And then, you have a situation where you pay a lot of money to go see Steph Curry and then Curry ends up not playing. You guys remember what happened in the regular season with that young girl who had the sign. It was great that Steph Curry actually, made it a point to be there for the fans when they get disappointed. But with Kyle Lowry, I mean, he's getting to the age. I think he's in his mid 30s, which is not
30. I think he's like 36. Yeah.
which is not terribly old, but I mean, father's time does start to catch up with you, especially when it comes to rebounding from injuries. So that is something to definitely look at. But I mean, when you look at the talent in the NBA, when you have somebody like Kyle Lowry who's locked into the locker room and well respected by your team, maybe it's something that you want to hold on to for another season, like a Chris Paul situation with the Phoenix Suns. So I'm not ready to move on from Kyle Lowry. I think if they would have came out more aggressive in the first quarter, because after the first quarter, they started just, going back and forth with Boston, scoring back and forth. But what their problem is that they weren't causing turnovers for the Celtics. They were just going back and forth and scoring. And when you have a low scoring first quarter, the way that they did, you need to make some stops if you want to be able to catch up and have a lead. They had no lead throughout this whole entire game. So does the blame get put on Kyle Lowry? I think he scored 15 points in game 7. So, I mean, not a miraculous score, but I mean, he does a lot defensively, and he's super aggressive and gets into his opponent's heads as well. So there's a lot of attributes that Kyle Lowry brings to the table. So I'm not ready to move on with him from Miami.
What about you, Jay?
Look, game 5. He scores 0 points in 25 minutes. Did he end up going out in that game? Anything? No, he just didn't score, right? I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the games, his points, 18 points, 15 points. There goes 15, 18 points that you could have contributed on that night where you guys lost by 13 at home. I feel like Kyle Lowry's touch and go. You know what I mean? I've always respected him as a player. I love that Toronto Raptors team and what they did. But I don't know. I don't know when you look at this lineup, or you at least, I mean, they've changed around their starting 5. Are you looking at them like, hey man, next year we're gonna be right here, I could say in the playoffs, so to speak. But like, are we gonna be this close next year with what we have? Is Kyle Lowry the guard that's really gonna help push us there? But then who else do you get if you do move on for him? Of course, like we said, father time, things are keeping up, injuries, and we're just seeing it time and time again. I don't think we should. It's like the whole toss-up between resting the players or not and playing them. Hey, you're getting paid to play 82 games. You know what I mean? If you are seriously injured and you're like, look, we got to sit out. But, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he is the guard that's going to get you, along with Jimmy Buckets, like if they're going to be right back here close to the finals next year. I don't know if Kyle Lowry. But, again, at the same time, I don't know. Who do you replace him with? Maybe, yes, let's go one more season. Let's see what you can do. Let's see if you can help get us there. But like 0 points in game at home, 0 points in game 5, like that's just unacceptable. That's unacceptable. Like Kyle, like what are we doing, bro?
Yeah, I think so too. But I don't know.
Did he go out there?
That situations like those, especially with point guards, in this kind of situation is kind of difficult because, like Ruth said, Father Time is undefeated. We all know this, and usually like mid-30s and on is kind of when we start to see the decline. And I think for Kyle Lowry's case, he's not one of those guys. He's not like a LeBron where he's like, kept himself in just tip top shape throughout the entirety of his career. You know what I'm saying? He's kind of always teetered the line of like borderline healthy, borderline not. So it's like, when it's those kind of situations, those declines happen a lot faster. And you start to it's just glaring things about players like that, that once they start to decline, like the things that you didn't notice that they can make up for before, they can't do that anymore. And I think that's kind of like in Kyle Lowry's case. Like he's just not. He's never been, a super athletic guy. Like he's always just kind of been like this scrappy, like can do all the intangible things, but he can also score. So the fact that he's having trouble scoring now, and he's older, and I'm saying, things are starting to slow down. It's everything is just starting to catch up to him all at once. So if I'm Miami, I'm gonna try to at least look a little bit and see if I can get something for him, or if we can renegotiate his contract and maybe bring in another piece. Maybe like he takes some less money, and they can get another veteran guy in there, or another another scorer in there. I did hear rumors that they're looking at trying to make something happen with Donovan Mitchell. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but we'll see. But
Donovan Mitchell would be a fair trade for Kyle Lowry in all respects. If the Utah Jazz are looking to get to move on from either Donovan or Ruby, I think Mitchell would make a great fit in Miami. I like that a lot now that you mention it. I just think it would be like switching it out for a younger Kyle Lowry that might have been in his prime if you add on Donovan Mitchell to that roster. But yeah, it's really tough to just talk about Kyle Lowry and how he's regressing, especially with all the accomplishments. But it's always about what he's done for us lately. The media has a hard time with always, it's a hit or miss. It's like we love you one day, and then the next day we think that you should retire. So it's a hard place with Kyle Lowry. I think the Miami Heat have a lot of changes that they're going to be exploring in the offseason. And I know that Jimmy Butler is locked in with Miami, so I know that they're going to want to continue to put those key pieces around him, so we don't have to depend on him scoring 47 points in a game 5 for them or in a game 6 for them to survive. So yeah, I mean, we'll see how the team looks during the offseason.
For sure. But off of that situation, let's go ahead and jump into our finals preview. Because we now know who our two teams are in the finals going to be.
Well, we haven't even talked about Golden State Game 5 with Do we really have to talk about that? In the last show, we were discussing it was the night that the Dallas Mavericks could have been swept, and Jay and I were both saying like we don't think this is going to be a sweep, but this is going to be a gentleman's sweep, where it's probably going to be a game over in Game 5, and that's what we saw unfold as the Golden State Warriors were above the Dallas Mavericks by 10 points. Luka looked defeated on the sideline. I felt so bad for him on the bench. And shout out to Steph Curry for winning the Western Conference Finals. Steph Curry is this close to be considered top 10. All he needs to do is win a Finals MVP. So if the Golden State Warriors take it all with the Boston Celtics, I think it's Steph Curry's time for the doubters to finally be silenced.
Honestly, I agree with you. As much as I hate to say it, I do agree with you. I was wrong about both of those games because I was so sure that Boston was going to wrap it up in 6. I was wrong. I was so sure that the Mavericks were going to get swept. I was wrong. So, I'm just, as far as my predictions have not been great, but I'm pretty confident in my finals prediction. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the only thing that's really missing on Steph Curry's resume is the Finals MVP, because I mean, he's literally accomplished everything else. So that's gonna be the only thing. But I don't know. We're gonna see. But speaking of which, let's get into it. Jay, who you got? How many games? What's gonna happen? Who's gonna be the MVP? What are you thinking? What is in your mind?
Wait, okay, so with this, and as before we get to that, and we talked about Steph Curry, out of everybody playing in this NBA Finals, I truly believe he has the most to prove. He has the most to prove, right? Like, okay, you guys got that one championship. You beat the Cavaliers, whatever, right? But then you, Steph Curry, the amazing shooter that you are, you let the Kevin Durant come to your team, get 2 MVP finals, right? You in game 7, you like disappeared. You let Kyrie hit that shot in your face. Like, I feel like he has everything to prove. He has to win this championship. He has to. Otherwise, yeah, you're the greatest shooter to ever live, but we're looking at you like, can you be the one, the team on your back the full time as you are into your height of your stardom? Like, when he won that, it was kind of like we were shocked, like, oh, hey, Warriors, cool. I mean, they did good with the year before, but then Steve Kerr came in, coached them up. Steve Kerr was coached by the great Phil Jackson, by the great Greg Popovich. They won, but like, are you that guy? Can you know what I mean? Iguodala gets the MVP the first year, right? Then you let Kevin Durant come on your team. You guys are a super team. Is it your time? You have the most to prove. You better win this NBA Finals.
I'll just mention one thing. I think Steph Curry got robbed when Iguodala was announced the MVP for that finals. I think he solely was given that reward because the way that he was entered into the starting lineup, and the Golden State Warriors were able to come back and win 3 games straight. And he put a lot of pressure on LeBron James, who still dominated in that series, but he was able to slow him down ever so slightly. And that's why Andre Iguodala was rewarded the finals MVP, but Curry got robbed. And it's sad to say that he could be the best 3-point scorer in all of NBA history. He could have championships upon championships. He could be loyal with being with the same team that he got drafted in. I mean, we talk about how journeymen all the time don't have the respect that they want because they'd be hopping around like a Kevin Durant and a Kyrie Irving, who are all great players, but there's always that conversation in the background about their movement, about how their toxicity, about how the teams have success when they leave. Let's talk about that for a second. We have Kyrie Irving who left the Boston Celtics in a situation where they hadn't been in a finals for 35 years. And now that he leaves, they had a little bit of up and downs the 2 years after, but now they're in an NBA finals. And then you have the Golden State Warriors, who was completely destroyed after Kevin Durant left because Andre Iguodala left, Kevin Durant left, Klay Thompson got hurt. They got slapped around in that series against the Toronto Raptors. So it was not a great ending for that season for them. And then they didn't even make it to the playoffs the next year. And then now they're in the situation where they're back in the NBA finals. And where is Kyrie? Where is Kevin Durant? Do you think that they're looking right now at their
I have an idea where they are, Ruth. 1, 2, 3, Cancun.
They're enjoying the tequila in Cancun while their fellow friends, fellow teammates are on their way to an NBA final. So do you think Kyrie and Kevin Durant are feeling any type of way right now?
I think Kyrie don't care, for one. I'm just gonna be like, listen, and y'all know how I ride for me some Kyrie, even with all the extra shenanigans. I don't think he cares. He doesn't strike me as a guy that predicates his life off of, success and failure as far as it pertains to basketball. Like, somebody like Kobe Bryant, this will be eating him alive. Like, he would be in the gym you wouldn't even see Kobe. You would just see him come out of the gym drenched in sweat with ice packs on his knees because it bothered him that much to lose. Like, when Shaq got his 4th ring and Kobe was at 3, he was the first one to tell you it tore him up inside because the competitor in him. Kyrie doesn't have that in him. I think Kyrie likes basketball, like I always say, but I don't think he's in love with it the same way other athletes are. Now, KD, on the other hand, I think this bothers KD. Will he ever admit it? Probably not. He's too prideful. But I do think that him being the competitor that he is and how he's been so combative about him going to Golden State and then him leaving Golden State and just how he reacts to certain things, I think secretly this is definitely something. He's kind of looking at it like, damn, like I left Golden State to be with this dude and like it's been nothing but chaos and shenanigans. And then we get swept in the first round and the team that we got swept by is going to the finals. The team that I left to come be with this dude going to the finals. And then on top of that, Steph already has 1 more ring than KD. If he wins again, that's 2 more rings over KD. So then it really validates the whole Draymond situation of like, we don't need you. We won before you. So it's like there's a lot of there's a lot of snowball effect that's coming with, at least on the Golden State KD side. Like I said, Kyrie is somewhere meditating in the mountain. He don't care about nothing, none of this that we talking about right now. KD, on the other hand, I think it's different for him.
I think clearly KD always lets the chatter bother him, right? Like he can't.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, he knew that he needed to leave Golden State and make a name on his own. You can't. I'm sorry, you don't join a 73-9 team and then you're the best player on that team. You got the two NBA Finals MVPs, but like he needs to be his own man. I feel like you got into it with Draymond, right? You guys fell apart, injuries, he got hurt, so it was kind of like the perfect time to leave. He still knows he has to be that man right now. If Kevin Durant is on the Warriors right now, I'm like, boom, asterisk. You still it's too. I needed to see Kevin Durant be his own man. He already got 2 championships. So you're like, hopefully you can pull off one. Hopefully he can pull off one and be the main man. I'm waiting to see Kevin Durant put that team on his shoulders. And I think simply he wants to be that. Like everybody's it's always gonna be like, yeah, you won, but you had Steph and you had Clay. Like it's always going to be there. You want to be up there with LeBron, and when they were going back and forth, LeBron put a whole team on his back. Like I need you to be that guy, Kevin Durant. I need you to be that guy. And when you get swept in the first round of the playoffs with your homie, your buddy, your ace, boom, base, like that's a problem, bro. That's a problem. Like, how did you go last year and you were a shoe size short, right? Of going to the so I think it's like, yeah, man, Golden State, they're having their success right now, but he knows in the back of his head he has to be that guy on his own to bring the next championship. If he was still on Golden State, it would be a wrap. Kyrie's Kyrie. To be honest, he's like, he'll forever be the guy that hit the shot, Steph Curry's face. You came back, from a 1-3 deficit. Like, you'll still have that. I think he's good. Hey, whenever he retires, I got my championship. I hit that big shot. Whatever, you know what I mean? Like we said, he likes basketball, but he's not in love with it anymore. We saw that from you not playing on your team for 30 games because of the whole COVID situation. Like, if this was really everything to you and we got to get back to the championship and I want to prove I can do it with KD and I don't need LeBron and this and that, you know what I'm saying? Like, the time is now. The East has clearly, and as we're seeing East get better and better, but you guys were a favorite. This season, you were a favorite, and just like that, gone in the first round, swept. So, it's bothering KD, but Kyrie's like, okay, you not in it, and you already know how I feel about Kyrie and KD and the Brooklyn, the Brooklyn Nets. But that's a story for another day.
I could disagree. I think Kyrie is taking a little bit of extra meditation, knowing that the Boston Celtics are headed to the NBA Finals right now, and they were swept in the very first round. After all the criticism that came his way, after all the hoopla and all the shenanigans that he pulled, he really had the audacity to say that his team was not disciplined enough, and that's why they got swept in the first round by the Boston Celtics. Just the audacity of Kyrie Irving of not taking accountability of his own actions and his part to play on James Harden decided to departure to go to the 76ers for their team having to be in the play-in tournament in the first place because he missed 30 games because of his own personal beliefs that was outside of what the team wanted and what the team needed after giving him the bag, after giving him the money that they did. I think it's really eating him up inside. I think KD, he's made some comments before that he's not really playing for a championship before, and I know that he probably said that not really realizing the depth of his words and what he was really saying. But I think Kevin Durant has a very hard time admitting that he's wrong for leaving the Golden State Warriors and their dynasty. So I don't think he will ever admit that it bothers him that the Golden State Warriors are going to continue to win championships without him. But I mean, I hope that he's happy for his ex-teammates because, I mean, he was there in the locker room sharing champagne back in 2016, or was it
2017 to 2018?
Yeah. So, I mean, it is what it is now. All you can do is move on. I know that Steph Curry kind of looks at Kyrie and probably at Kevin Durant as well, being like, hey, we're better off without you. So you guys could, take on with the media, take on with the shenanigans, and we'll just keep putting up chips.
Yeah, I think and it just like I said, another thing is like it just validates the whole go to like I think in the long run when Katie looks back on the trajectory of his career or just not the trajectory but the totality, sorry, the totality of his career, I think he's gonna regret going to Golden State in the first place because I was just having this conversation actually with my cousin is that it going to Golden State didn't give Katie the validation that he thought it would, and he said that without saying it because I remember after they won the first championship and he was just like, I still feel normal, like I don't feel like you know what I'm saying, like what I thought winning a championship was going to provide for me or relieve for me, it didn't. Like it still was like the same kind of thing. So it's just like I don't. And then if you build piggyback off that a little bit more, just with some of the subliminal comments like the Warriors players would make, or even the Warriors team owner would make. When I'll never forget this. This clip will stick in my mind forever. Is when they won the second championship and they were having the parade, and you know how they have the team like sit on the stage and everybody gives their speech or whatever. And I remember the owner, Bob Myers, was talking about Steph Curry first, and he was like, Steph, he's a homegrown guy. He's been with us this whole time. He's our foundation. Steph can get whatever he wants. And I remember KD kind of sitting back and being like, well, wait, I mean, cool, but did you not just see what? And then I think the following comment was as far as it pertained to KD was just like, well, I can't remember exactly what he said verbatim, but it was kind of like along the line of like, I mean, KD's cool. Like if he leaves, we'd be all right. Like it's like somewhere. Like I said, I wish I could remember exactly what he said, but I just remember after saying whatever it was verbatim, and I have to go back and look at it to give you the exact words. But I just remember KD's face, and that told it all for me. I was like, oh, he's out of there. He's leaving Golden State because his face was just like really like. I didn't sacrifice all this criticism, all this hate, all this scrutiny, all these people saying I have asterisk mixed to my championships. I've, been the best player. I've got 2 finals MVP. You guys called me like you guys as a team, the starting 5 of the Warriors flew to the Hamptons to recruit me. I didn't come to y'all. Y'all came to me. But now it's nobody cares. You know what I'm saying? Nobody needs you. Nobody cares. You're not really the main focal point. You're just an asset. And so I think when he looks back, it's going to be like there was no point in me. I mean, he was always going to leave OKC. I'll go to my grave saying that. But I just think that when it's all said and done, he'll regret going to Golden State because it didn't give him because KD is an insecure dude. We all know that. He wants I mean, you can tell by his actions how he acts. He's an insecure dude. He wants to be validated, and Golden State was never going to give him that validation because Golden State is Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson. That's it. Like they're, you know what I'm saying? Everybody else that's come along through the pipeline are assets. You know what I'm saying? They are the foundation. So I mean that's just my thoughts. Like I said, I don't think Kyrie really give a damn. You know what I'm saying? He's somewhere meditating, minding his business. But off of that, real quick, while we're on Golden State, and I just want to cover this really quick because I know we got to get to some NFL. So Draymond Green was recently on the Colin Cowherd show, and he was talking about the time of KD being there with Steph and all that stuff like that, and basically he was just saying that KD was incredible, he was insane, he played out of his mind, but Steph Curry got double teamed like 7 times more than KD ever did throughout those playoff series that they had Kevin Durant. Now Kevin Durant, of course, Mr. Twitter figures himself. Somebody tagged him in the video and said, KD, what are your thoughts? And then he replied, I 100% disagree with this. From my perspective, he said, from my perspective, I 100% disagree with this. So what do you guys think of those comments? And do you think that, and also I want to kind of play devil's advocate a little bit. Do you think that the Warriors players now that they have made the finals without KD, do you think they're secretly like when without the cameras, they kind of like, clowning KD a little bit, or like, what do you think? Like,
I think it's definitely an inside joke within that locker room when it comes to the players that played with KD that are still in the Golden State Warriors locker room. I think it's comedic for them to see KD struggle with the Brooklyn Nets and how he thought he was going to win a championship with Kyrie and James Harden, and that fell apart. So I mean, you always know that the West Side is always snickering at the East Coast and thinking like, oh, you know, you guys think you're big and bad, but West Coast is the best coast. That's how they live out there. So yeah, I think it's pretty comedic with the situation that KD finds himself in and how the Golden State Warriors are back into the position that they feel they belong. And at the end of the day, as you said, Sensei, that is a dynasty that was well developed before KD even got there. He was just a matter of an asset, and they just needed another sharp shooter and take some attention off Steph Curry. But they got what they wanted out of him, and they kind of used and abused him in a way. I feel bad for Kevin Durant, but I mean, you found yourself in that situation. Nobody else feels bad for you because everybody's still mad that you left OKC in the manner that you did. Russell Westbrook definitely felt some way about that as well. But I don't mean to switch gears on us, ladies, but I just found out that the Lakers hired a new head coach. So I gotta get Sensei's, real quick take on this.
I am excited.
Did Bron have anything to do with this coaching selection?
I think he did, but I don't think he had like a majority the way he has before with other teams. Like, I don't think it was like where they were like, okay, Bron, what do you want? I think both sides were kind of frustrated with each other, so they were like, we're gonna pick in the realm of coaches that we know LeBron would like, but we're not going to him and being like, hey, who do you want to play for? Like, we're not doing that no more. So, but I think that they knew when they hired this particular coach that Bron was going to be okay with that because he was the Milwaukee assistant coach. He did a lot of great work for them, and pretty much made that was a big part of why that team is a championship caliber team. I'm saying since he joined, and he's hard nosed. He's no nonsense. He's somebody that he's not going to be afraid of Bron, and that's what Bron needs. Like, he needs somebody that's not going to, when he gets mad or throws like when he throws, because I love Bron, but Bron has his moments where he tries to he flexes his power, and if you're gonna fold, then he's gonna run all over you. So I think that this coach is, like I said, he's hard nosed. He's not gonna let Bron run all over him. He's gonna and what I like about this hire too is that he already came in really demanding, like, I want to pick my coaching staff. Like, don't pick my coaching staff for me.
Which is something they did not allow Frank Vogel to do, as well as him not having say on his starting lineup. And I just feel like they kind of controlled Frank Vogel like a puppet.
Yeah, absolutely. Him and Westbrook were the crash dummies. Let's just call it what it is. Like, that part of the Lakers' demise was they pinpointed on their weaknesses, and we're like, okay, well, the reason why we weren't successful is because of this and because of that. There's a plethora of reasons as to why the Lakers weren't successful this season, plethora. But I'm happy about this head coaching hire. I think that it's going to be positive for them. We'll see as far as what the roster is going to look like, because I'm still not sold on what the roster is going to be as the NBA season starts, but we shall see.
I mean, the Lakers can't get any worse than they already are, right? So Darvin Ham.
You didn't have to do that. You didn't have to do that. You didn't have to do that.
Don't say it, Ruth.
It can't get any worse. We didn't make it to the playoffs. It can't get any worse.
Or we can only go up from here. We can only go up from here.
Yeah,
she just loves to see me cringe. I feel like she just gets joy.
I find it funny that they had so much control over Frank Vogel and his coaching decisions when it came down to choosing a starting lineup, and we already know that was Bron's team. That wasn't really Vogel's team. Right. But now that they have Darvin Ham in there, I think he is more well respected in the NBA with his experience, with his resume. So I'm excited to see what the Lakers are going to do. I mean, there's a lot of talk about movement with Russell Westbrook. Are they going to trade AD? Are they even going to trade LeBron? Like, there's been a lot of different headlines for the Lakers, but we won't know until the offseason starts, when they, summer league comes along, all that kind of stuff happens. So it can't get any worse for the Lakers. I think they had to shoot their shot by, starting at the top and getting rid of Frank Vogel. Now they're going to start creating what they want to do with their roster, and we'll see what happens next year.
You know what, Ruth? I question our friendship every episode because I just feel like
no friends in sports.
The shots that are being fired are just crazy.
No friends in sports, none.
It's crazy. Hold on just a second, guy. I think we might have a guest coming on in a second.
Oh yes, Carolina Teague, are you here?
Yeah,
I sent her something.
yeah, she just texted me. So
I think
she says she's on her way. So let's stall just for a quick little second here if we can.
I think I think that is a good move. Frank Vogel is clearly a puppet, and the fact that they got him, you know what I mean. I'm still upset that they didn't get Tyronn Lue and let him have his own. You know what I mean. To me,
they
They told him that he wasn't allowed to choose his own
own-
coaching staff, and they were going to make Jason Kidd his assistant coach, and he said, "I'm out of here."
Yeah, he's like,
that and I think they shorted him on what they offered him as far as money wise too.
Because he was already getting paid. He was still getting paid out from Cleveland.
Yeah. And he was like, I'm not going for less.
From Cleveland, but continued to still get paid from Cleveland. He might even still be getting paid from Cleveland.
Oh yeah, they're good for that. They're good for that. They are good for that.
Yeah, when you sign a contract and it's guaranteed money, it doesn't matter what they decide to do. Guaranteed money is guaranteed money. So
listen, if it's one thing Cleveland gonna do, they gonna miss a contract. That's what they gonna do. They gonna mess it all the way up to the point where they gonna offer you all this money, then they gonna want to get rid of you, and they still gotta pay you. I don't understand that. I really don't understand that. It's really dumb. But I'm glad. I'm happy for this coach. I'm interested to see who he's gonna choose to be on his coaching staff. So I'm interested to see like who's gonna be up. I think we got her, guys. I think she's here. She's in the background.
Yes, she is. Bring her on.
Welcome to the show. Guest and family of the show. One of our favorites, Carolina Teague, is in the house.
Hey, I like that background, Jay.
I know, right? This is my future house. She about
to go play the piano in a second. Watch.
Yeah, Jay stays in her mansion, so we just gotta let Jay live.
Jay, bring it the drip. So, Carolina, I know that you've been a really, really busy girl, but go ahead and tell our audience where they can find you and all new projects that you're working on.
Oh my gosh, I don't even know what I have going on right now in my life, but you can find me on 103.3 FM, 94.5 FM. I'm on San Antonio Sports Star as the Spurs Insider. I also write for poundingtherock.com. You can find me on poundingtherock.com as well. And you can also find me on sportsastoldbyaGirl.com. And you can also find me, I think that's it. I think that's all you can. Oh, I also announce for River City Wrestling as well.
So you can find her everywhere is what she's trying to say. Just gonna look anywhere, you can find Carolina.
If you look, you'll find her.
Exactly.
Yes, if you look, you'll
go to my page. I get on people's nerves. I'm in their face all the time.
Real quick, Carolina, before we hop into these sports topics, can you please discuss the jersey controversy you had recently?
Yeah, so this is where Jay had my back, and I'm so glad because Jay literally wears like a different jersey, a different hat all the time. So I was under the assumption, like, I see girls in the industry do this all the time. Every time they go like to a different city to promote themselves, they wear a different jersey. So I felt like, I could do that. I've seen people who cover the Spurs wear Lakers jerseys, and that's supposed to be their rival. So I didn't think it was going to be a huge deal. I got an opportunity to be in a top 5 market for radio, which is like a dream come true for me. So I decided to show love to the city of Houston because they're showing me love back by wearing a Houston Rockets jersey. And it just kind of backfired on me, and they tore me up a new butthole on Spurs Twitter. I literally got called every name in the book. I got dragged.
Oh, wow.
I mean, they were calling me all types of disrespectful names that we would never let men call us, but I was called all those types of names.
So first of all, how did you deal with that? Because I mean, you and I have had this conversation before, as far as like just women in sports and like especially being minorities and just the different things that we have to face and like overcome, and how we get held to a higher scale than the men. So like mentally, how were you able to like not let that like affect you or control you or get you bogged down, and how did you overcome that? And what advice would you give to somebody else that would go through a similar situation like that?
I like how you pointed out the minority part because I don't think anybody has brought that up to me, and you guys are all minorities. So the first thing that went through my head is how come the minority woman is getting put through this when I see other people that are same gender that are not necessarily minorities go through the same exact thing and they don't deal with this stuff. And I don't mean that in an offensive way. I'm just like looking at it face value. Like San Antonio is like a majority of Latino and Latina women. And you know, you're gonna drag the Latina woman, and I'm not using that as like a, because when we do this to ourselves, the first thing that men say, because they, you know, I hear what men say and I hear what people in the industry say, they think that we're using it as an excuse. And it's not an excuse. It's really our reality. And if it's a snake, it's gonna bite us, and we should call it out every time. But people think we use as an excuse for, you know, our journey, when in reality it's our truth, and hardly anybody can really relate to that unless you're one of us. So that's why I'm glad that you pointed it out, because I don't think anybody else would have, because they don't see it from our lens. And how I overcame it, you know, it was really hard for me. Actually, it really affected me a lot, you know, especially because, you know, we're all from the hood a little bit, you know, so
yes, ma'am.
you want to say is you want to defend yourself and you want to say how you really feel. Like, somebody said that I was just doing it because I wish I was famous. And I was like, and I just want to respond back. And I want to say stuff like, you know, if everybody could wear a throwback jersey and be famous, don't you think everybody would wear a throwback jersey? You know what I mean?
No, for real.
But
Seriously.
I can't talk like that, because I have to hold myself to a higher standard, and I have to hold myself like to this imaginary standard that other people in this industry can respond to without any repercussions. And in my world, if I'm going through that times 100, which it was like 100 times over, you have to just keep your mouth shut. So it really affected me, because it was literally 3 full weeks of me being dragged from morning, noon to night. I would turn off my phone, pick up my phone, and somebody else was calling me, you know, something, or just comparing me to Yolanda Saldivar, the chick that killed Selena, which is like the last thing you want to call a Mexican. Like,
wow, that's out of pocket. I didn't.
don't ever want to hear that. So they were saying I was the most hated woman in San Antonio and stuff. But I just feel like the internet is really stupid, and I feel like it's gonna. I was in my mind, I was like, it's gonna blow over in a few days, and now I'm back to normal, and everybody loves me again. So
they love you, then they hate you, then they love you again. That's
exactly. It's like they hate me one day and then they love me again, and it really showed me, like, you know, because I'd be paying attention, like, who really like has my back and who doesn't have my back. And so I kind of just peep game, because a lot of people that was talking about me, they are in this industry, they have podcasts, take names, you know what I'm saying? And just remember, when
here at the Sports Sensei, if you want to just call them out, you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. Or you can just send me their ads, and I can just handle it from there. It's fine. It's totally up to you.
These people are so desperate for clout. They would love for me to say their name, but I'm not going to give them that satisfaction.
Yeah. No, because it upsets me all the time, and I see Joy Taylor from the Colin Cohart show all the time clapping back on people that have 13 followers on Twitter. Like, why are you retweeting their posts that was obviously insulting to you and didn't even make any sense, because it didn't really apply to you or things of that nature? So, like, why even give them the clout? I know there's always that urge, that little devil on our shoulder that's just like, yo, let's show this person who's boss. But sometimes it's better to, even though it's harder, it's better to just take the higher road, and girl, use that block button, because that's my best friend.
My thing is, like, the devil on my shoulder is so vicious. Like,
listen, I was about to say that. I was about to say, Ruth, I don't think you understand, because the devil on her shoulder is from the south side of Chicago. So you have to understand, it's a little different, sis. Like,
the more haters, the more comments that you're getting, that's more revelation for you to realize that you really are somebody, that people are really taking the time out of their day to comment on a jersey that you wore. At the end of the day, we are all fans of sports. I like to rock a lot of different types of jerseys. It doesn't really matter that I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. I can only rock Dallas. No, I live in Tampa. I went to the Tampa Bay Bucks and Chiefs Super Bowl. Like, of course, I'm going to put on a Bucks jersey if I want to put on a Bucks jersey. So it is what it is. I get that backlash all the time, and it really just, I stopped letting it bother me, and I just started like block. That's how you feel.
It's really
you don't pay my bills, so
it's the most unserious thing in the world.
And And the thing is, like, I want to use a block button, but a part of me is also like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna show that I have thick skin. And like one of the guys, he's always like trolling me, always saying stupid stuff. And like, I just wrote him back, and I was like, "You're not even cracking my top 5 of haters of all time. So like, what are you good at? Like, you can't." Like, I'm not gonna block you, bro. You need to go harder at me next time. So
wow,
it's kind of like
that's all you got. That's all you got. That was weak. That was weak.
Yeah,
that is insane. Here at the Sports Senseis, we support people wearing whatever that what they want. Like, first of all, mind your business.
But do you say, like, when like, for y'all, I got a question for y'all. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just in my head, but like, do y'all feel some type of way when like a man tries to tell you what kind of stuff you need to be wearing on your body? Like, whether it's that's kind of how I feel again. I was like, why is a man trying to tell me what kind of jersey I should be? But I was like, maybe I'm just going too far deep. Like, what would y'all do?
No, listen, I have cussed many a man out trying to tell me what to wear. I have like probably sabotaged so many relationships because I refuse to like conform to what you listen. This is unless you are paying a bill, my boy. Unless you are, you know what I'm saying, you got the mortgage, you done bought me a house. Unless you're buying my wardrobe, my boy. Unless you are my daddy, and I don't even respect him like that. I'm not gonna listen to you about what I'm supposed to wear.
Yeah,
what I'm supposed to like. No, listen. We're not gonna do that. Like that's where I draw the line. Like I can be submissive on a lot of different things, but how I dress, chill out.
I think it's there's a fine line of men trying to maybe give us advice and just overstepping their boundaries. I think unfortunately a lot of men don't know that line to cross, especially when it comes to us being very strong, independent women who are in an industry that is predominantly male. So we have to deal with that criticism all the time. But just stay away. All the men that are watching in right now, we appreciate you watching the Sports Senseis on ASAP Network. We got Carolina Teague here representing San Antonio. Do not mention any comments about a woman's weight. It is never okay on any circumstances whatsoever. Just want to put that out.
I have one as well, if I could just please.
Yeah, we can go all day about this.
Listen, also, if a woman doesn't have kids, don't ask her why. Because you don't know the situation. You don't know what she's gone through. You don't know if she can't have kids. You don't know if she's trying to have kids and she's she's miscarried, or you don't know if she doesn't want kids. I'm gonna say it, and they can blank it out. I'm sorry, ASAP Network, but her vagina is her business. Like, and what comes in and out of it is also her business. I'm sorry. Like, I know that's probably inappropriate, but let's just keep it real. Like,
it's the truth.
It's like don't ask a woman that. I hate that because I don't have kids. I want kids myself, but I don't have kids, and it sends a chill up my spine every single time somebody asks me why I don't have kids or when I'm going to have kids. I'll have kids when I feel like it.
When you're ready.
That's the beginning and the end. Don't ask me nothing else.
Catalina, I saw that you had a son of yours graduate high school.
Yes.
Oh my goodness!
Congrats.
For making it to this point where you carried this offspring of yours through life to get him to this point. Congratulations! I know that it wasn't easy. There's a lot of ups and downs.
Yes,
what are his plans after high school? Is he following in mama's footsteps, going into sports, or does he have his own dreams and aspirations?
Yeah, so I don't force my dreams upon my children. So he's really not into sports, to be honest. Like, he likes basketball, but he's not hardcore about it. He's more into music. And
dope.
Yeah, he loves music. He's a music head. So he wants to do something either in the music world, but he really wants to travel the world. So he's gonna join the military, which I was a teen mom, so I felt like I let a lot of people down with doing that. And it was a hard process for me. And my only goal was like to make sure my son is like out of the streets and make sure that my son doesn't get a woman pregnant at a young age. and he has done everything. He's a good kid, and I'm just so proud of him for being way better than I could ever be. And I even cried at his graduation dinner, and I was like, I can't believe like God has blessed me with such an amazing son who just has been real easy to raise. So I'm really grateful.
Salute to that, man. Congrats again, man. That's awesome. Like I love to hear that. And you tell them people that was hating on you. You tell them that. Like, look what I did.
Well, yeah, because I keep my son off social media too, or my kids, because they have been attacked before. They have been attacked before by people in media who make fake accounts. So, I just feel like I made a decision to keep my kids off social media. So because of that, I also get like criticism that I don't raise my kids, which is completely incorrect. But I don't care what people portray of me. I know who I am. That's why I'm so solid with who I am. Like, I don't care what anybody says about me. I know who I am, and I know what I bring to the table, and I always try to put out good positive energy, and I feel like it comes back to me. So that's all that matters.
Carolina, if you would like me to fight these people that criticize you, you can just let me know.
I got a new critic. I'll give y'all all I got a new critic recently. So I don't know if y'all noticed, I've been posting a lot of pictures like showing, my little twins or whatever.
The girls.
Come on, the girls.
I keep money in it. Anyways. So I should so somebody in sports media said that the only reason why I got my opportunity in sports radio is because I show my boobs and I show my butt, which is incorrect, because if you look at all my pictures, I don't. So I was like, that ain't me showing it. This is me showing it. So that's why I've been like real heavy on this showing my cleavage lately. So
the world would be a true point.
Max, the world would be such a better place if people minded their business. But it is what it is.
It's like, why does everybody always got something to say? Like,
I feel like they tell them because they're losers, and they tell themselves in their brain that the reason why I have this opportunity is because of that. But it has a lot more so to do with my intelligence and my hard work, and I know that. So I'm just kind of trolling them. I'm gonna show my titties even more.
We love to see it. Free the tatas. Let the tatas breathe.
Free the tatas.
Shout out to the ASAP Network, All Sports, All Plays. It is Tuesday night with the Sports Senseis. I am Ruth the Truth. We got Sensei here. We got Jay Nicole and our special guest, Carolina Teague. So we're going to bring this back into some sports conversations. Carolina, I know you've been super busy, but have you been staying tuned in with the NBA playoffs that is now transitioning into the NBA Finals?
I have been, and I'm actually not excited about the NBA Finals this year, and I said that earlier today.
Could you tell us why? Why is that?
Because I'd like, shout out to the Warriors. They got a great team. You got Jordan Poole, who's doing his thing. You got Klay Thompson, who's back from his injury. You got Steph Curry, and you got Draymond. But I am so sick and tired of seeing the Warriors in the NBA Finals. This is the sixth time out of 9 years that they're at the NBA Finals. And I feel like with football, you always get like a different team at the end of every year. So it's kind of like a trend who's going to come out. I'm just so used to seeing the Warriors at the finals. I'm not really excited about it, but shout out to the Warriors. I think they probably going to have a great chance at winning.
So who do you got? Early prediction. We doing predictions. Who you got?
I got the Warriors.
How many games?
Maybe six.
Okay.
Warriors and 6.
It is so hard for me to give an early prediction. I do have plans to fly to San Francisco for Game 2 at the Chase Center, which I'm super excited about. I really think it's going to come down to whatever team can swipe a win on the road. But I think the Celtics just match up so well against the Golden State Warriors because the Celtics have shooters. The Celtics have, players that can turn the ball over, and I think Marcus Smart is going to be a really, really big problem for Steph Curry. I think they're probably going to throw in Ime Udoka, the first-year head coach for the Boston Celtics, has done a phenomenal job to get to this point in his first year with the Celtics. But he needs to look back at the bubble where the Golden State Warriors were obviously missing Klay Thompson, who is a big part of their offense, but Steph Curry could not get his hands on the ball, and that was the way that they found themselves out in an early exit in that NBA playoff. So I think that Ime Udoka needs to look over some old film in the 2020 bubble and try to replicate that with Marcus Smart being one of the best defenders that we've seen in the NBA. So I think it's a really great matchup. I definitely got to see how the first 2 games go
Fair
before
enough.
I make any type of predictions for the NBA finals.
What you thinking, Jay?
Yeah, before I get out of here, Celtics in 6. Celtics in 6.
Oh,
The Golden State Warriors cannot win another championship. They can't do it. No.
Listen,
But I mean, how many
No,
championships
I
have we seen the Patriots win?
I definitely do think that the Celtics match up with the Warriors better than the Heat would have. So I think this is definitely going to be, if the Heat were playing them, although I love Jimmy Buckets, I'd be like Celtics. I'd be like Warriors all the way. But I think the Celtics will definitely give the Warriors a run for their money. Their defense, man, the way they stopped Miami, even though the series went back and forth, I really feel like they can bring that, put the pressure on Clay, put the pressure on Steph. Somebody slap Draymond around. Can somebody just manhandle him? Al Horford, can you be the guy? You were trying to shut down Giannis. Can you shut down Draymond Green? Somebody please. But yeah, I'm gonna go Celtics in 6. I'm gonna be bold and just say it. I want to see them win. On that note, ladies, so sorry I gotta leave. CT just got in, but I gotta go. But you guys finish it home, and I'll catch you guys next week.
Bye, Jay.
yeah, bye, Jay.
I feel like who you got? Who you got? Go.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead. You'll finish yours, and I'll go.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say I feel like Warriors in 6 simply because you have Ime. Well, first of all, I like the fact that Ime Udoka and Steve Kerr, and they both came under the umbrella of Greg Popovich. That's pretty cool to see that. And I think what's gonna be the main factor in here is playoff experience. To me, playoff experience is the key for any NBA team to make it to the top. They definitely have that with the Warriors team. I think what is going to be the main factor is, like you said, defense. Marcus Smart won Defensive Player of the Year. They have an incredible defense. Derek White is also a great defensive player as well. But I think they need to match the offensive power of the Warriors if they're going to meet them across at the end, or if they're going to end up taking it to the top. They need to match them offensively. And if Marcus Smart is not performing offensively as well as he is doing offensively, defensively, then it's not going to happen for them. When Marcus Smart scores like 20 points and plus, the Celtics end up winning. So I think it all not only comes down to defense, but they also need to match that offensive firepower with the Warriors. So that's why I say Warriors in 6, just off playoff experience and their offensive power. But that's where I'm at. But the defense is going to be incredible against the Celtics.
For sure. I definitely agree. I got Celtics in 7. I'm with Jay. The Warriors can't win. I don't want them to win. They can't win. It's over with. No.
Okay. I understand our personal opinions, our personal feelings about these teams. But we're talking stats. We're talking real sports here on a professional level. You got to take the heart out of it for a second. Just use the brain, not the heart, just the brain. Like, what do you really think the Celtics can put it away in 7?
I do think that, and I think that because it's predicated on 2 people. If the Celtics can neutralize, if the Celtics can neutralize Klay Thompson and Jordan Poole, I think that makes a world of difference, because you can live and die with Steph trying to put the team on his back, because we've seen that he's not capable of doing that. He can't shoulder that, you know what I'm saying, that much responsibility. Like, he needs those other guys to be elite, or at least, you know, close enough to what he's been able to produce in order for that team to be successful. So if they can work Klay Thompson on the other end, as far as, like, you know, I don't know if he'll match up with Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, or, you know what I'm saying, because he's going to have to probably be on either one of those guys, because Steph's not going to guard either one of those guys. He's too small. So if those guys can work Klay and tire him down, and then, like I said, they can keep a muzzle on Jordan Poole, I think they got a fair shot at winning in 7. I really do. Because those are the 2 key components that make the Warriors go, because you're not threatened by Draymond scoring, because Draymond's not a scorer. He's an intangible guy. He's a defensive rebound. He can, you know what I'm saying, he can disrupt things. He can push the ball up the floor for their fast break. But those are intangible things. That's not going to win or lose you the game. It's just, you know what I'm saying, it just makes it easier so the superstars don't have to do as much work. But that's not going to win or lose you the game. So if you can neutralize those 2 guys and pretty much put the ball in Steph's hands and say, if you are who we think you are, win it for them. Yeah. Then I think they have an opportunity.
if the Golden State Warriors find themselves in a similar situation with what we saw with the Memphis Grizzlies, and then early in the series with the Dallas Mavericks, was taking care of the ball. If the starters do not take care of the ball, they're in big trouble, because the Boston Celtics are one of the best transition teams in the NBA. If you give them your opportunity, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart, Robert Williams, anybody is going to toss it up and they're going to bring it down for the alley-oop, and it's just going to be a problem for the Golden State Warriors if they do not take care of the ball. If they are able to be responsible and play as a unit, and I mean, once they start getting shots fired with Klay Thompson and with Steph Curry, I think it's going to be a pretty big task for the Boston Celtics to overcome. But that's my opinion, but we'll see how it matches up in, as the series. When does it start? Thursday? Thursday's game 1.
Thursday, yep. Thursday,
Sunday,
game 1, yep.
Game 2, and then they're coming back to the TD Garden to face the Celtics at their home stadium. So I think that if the Boston Celtics can sneak a win in one of the first 2 games, then the Warriors are probably going to be in trouble.
And anything can happen with the Warriors too, because they blew the series against the Cleveland Cavaliers.
That too, and not only that,
with Draymond, was for Game 5, yeah. It was
they still blew it.
Yeah,
so I mean, I think there's still an opportunity, just because even like with Memphis, like they were a young team, so they didn't know how to capitalize on those mistakes. Dallas didn't have enough star power to capitalize on those mistakes, and they were still able to make things tough for the Warriors. But now with the Celtics team, this is a team. This is a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like go ahead.
That's what I'm saying too. Like as far as the Celtics are, they're pretty much young when it comes to working together, and they've had turnover issues. They just need to eliminate that turnover issue that they have, and I don't know if the Warriors will be able to capitalize off that. But I feel like that's why I'm giving the edge to the Warriors, even though, like I said, I'm tired of NBA finals that are with the Warriors in it, and I would prefer to see somebody else win. But I just feel like they have too much star power and experience to take it to the top.
Yeah, the experience definitely comes into play when it comes to those big game moments. I mean, when you have a young team like you have with the Boston Celtics, I mean, I've been in those positions of playing for national championships in high school. I mean, the nerves really start to get to you. So the experience really kind of helps the player put everything into perspective and be able to put their best foot forward. So it'll be exciting to see how the Celtics, who haven't been in a finals in what was it, like 35 years? It's been a really long time since they've been in this position. And we're talking about Ime Udoka, who is in his first year as a head coach. Is he really going to outcoach Steve Kerr? Probably not. We'll see what happens.
I don't think Steve Kerr is a great coach.
I don't think so either, but
I think he reminds me of Mike Thompson from the Steelers. He just inherited a great team that was already like pretty much built, and this is the standard. This is how we're gonna play. This is what works and what doesn't. And he just kind of inherited that, because Mark Jackson made the Warriors.
Yes, I say that all the time.
He made the Warriors were not successful before Mark Jackson.
Yeah,
they weren't, and he built the foundation of Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson. Like, they were gonna trade Steph. Mark Jackson kept Steph
because he was hurt all the time.
Factual, but what I'm saying is correct. But what I'm saying is, had they got rid of him, we're not looking at the Warriors the same.
God,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
so different if Steph Curry did not stay with the Golden State Warriors.
Mark Jackson, he planted the seeds, and Steve Kerr ate the fruit.
No, honestly, he planted the seeds, and Steve Kerr just kept putting water on it, and it just grew, and it was like, oh, look at that. Yeah. We all saw.
That's kind of what happened with Tony Dungy with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in.
Yep. Even with the Colts, like you went into a team with Peyton Manning, like, duh, you should be successful. Like, I'm not. Steve Kerr's not a guy that's like, gonna draw up, schematic plays. He's just like, all right, well, I got two of the best shooters we've ever seen. I got I got an engine in the middle as far as Draymond Green, who can keep things growing and keep things together. We got some great bench players that can come off the bench, that can score, that can get their own shot. Really, I'm just along for the ride.
Yeah.
So if it comes down to coaching, what are we talking about? Like,
well, I've never seen Ime Udoka coach a finals, or just like,
that's true too.
So it's gonna be interesting to see how it comes out. And
Right.
at the end of the day, this is all under Coach Pop's tree. So I
For
think,
sure.
yeah. So
Sure. And I mean, Emmanuel Dogu, he got to go home to Nia Long. So either way, he won. Like, you know what I mean? He wins anyway.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I respect your ladies' opinions with the Celtics winning it all, but I think the Golden State Warriors are going to overcome the East, but we'll see how that plays out. Before we say goodbye to our audience, Carolina Teague, it's 100 days until the NFL kicks off with their Thursday night game. Can you tell us what you're looking forward to the most when it comes to the NFL season that's only 100 days away?
I'm looking forward to barbecuing on Sundays with my family.
That is a great answer.
That's all I'm looking forward to. Like, the best part is like there's always something to watch and there's always something to like be cheering for.
That's true.
And that's what I just like. I mean, like football season reminds me of my family, so I'm really excited.
Great
What
answer.
about
What about you, Sensei?
Oh, what am I excited about? There's so many things, man. There's been a lot of changes, been a lot of like trades and all kinds of just shenanigans. I'm looking forward to see what my Colts are gonna do, even though I don't think they're gonna do that great because we have Matt Ryan, and anything with Matt Ryan doesn't mean success. But I'm interested to see also where Odell's gonna end up. He still doesn't have a team yet, so I'm looking forward to see what's gonna happen with him. And I want to see how the Cincinnati Bengals recover from the Super Bowl loss, because not every team, when they lose a Super Bowl, not every team goes back or has successful teams. Sometimes teams particularly fall off or whatever the case. So I look forward to see how they bounce back and recover from the Super Bowl loss. And also Tom Brady's back, so you got to be excited to see the GOAT, right?
Yes, absolutely. Being in the Tampa Bay area, everybody's really excited for Tom Brady to return, and this will probably be his final year as a NFL quarterback, which will be kind of weird to see him retire. But I mean, we're all getting old. It happens. It's inevitable. But I'm most excited to see the AFC West and just to see how that division develops, because the Broncos got Russell Wilson, which will be super exciting to see. They picked up some great offensive players as well as defensive players in the offseason. I want to see how Justin Herbert bounced back with the Chargers, because they did a lot of cleaning up in the offseason as well. I want to see if the Kansas City Chiefs could be the Chiefs without Peter, who has joined the Miami Dolphins. That's super exciting. And Derek Carr is reunited with Devontae Adams, who was one of his biggest weapons in college. That division is just so exciting, and I cannot wait for the AFC West.
That is exciting. Sounds exciting. And I want to throw in too that I'm also excited to see Colin Kaepernick work out for the Las Vegas Raiders, because I want to see if he gets the job with them. And then I'm also really excited about all the revenge games. I know you said Russell Westbrook is now with the Broncos. I'm excited to see the revenge.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah. Oh, Russell Westbrook. I always say that. I always do that.
You're not the only one. Everybody, a lot of people do that.
And then also Deshaun Watson, the Browns versus the Texans. I'm just excited for the revenge games, and I kind of want to see how the Deshaun Watson thing plays out. And I want to see.
If he's not suspended for at least 10 games, I'm going to be upset. All I'm saying. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott took the girl to court. Things fizzled out. It wasn't anything that transpired from that situation, and he still got 6 games. Deshaun Watson has 22 counts of allegations against him. The NFL needs to make a
really quick on that. There's actually a case that's been added, so he now has 23. There was another case that was literally added just today. I actually read that earlier.
Wow.
So a woman that was watching, because I don't know if you guys saw or heard about the documentary where it was 2 of the victims kind of chronicalized like what happened and how they felt about him going to a new team and getting a new contract. And the woman, the 23rd accuser, saw the documentary, and because she wasn't going to say anything, and decided she wanted to speak up as well. So he now has 23 instead of 22.
Where is the documentary? Because I've heard about it, but I don't know where to catch it, and I want to watch it.
I think it was on, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was on HBO.
Oh, I got HBO back.
Okay, yeah. So go ahead, try to look. I don't know exactly what it's called, but I just remember hearing about it coming out, and I just saw like little snippets and inserts here and there. So definitely check that out. And then, like I said, because that's pretty much what provoked her to come out and speak her piece as well. So he now has 23 cases instead of 23.
I feel bad for Deshaun Watson's girlfriend because she is so fine.
Pretty.
Like,
Wow, she's so
fine
pretty.
to a whole other level. Like she is just a dime and a half. And then for her to have to deal with all this nonsense, everybody talking about her man in the media, true or not, I mean, 23 different allegations now. Like, are you not going to believe any of them? I mean, he is an athlete at the end of the day. They take advantage of situations. You never know, but I just feel bad for the situation. But I was upset that Deshaun Watson got the bag that he did. So I'm hoping that the NFL at least makes him out to be an example and he gets some type of punishment and doesn't jump right into being the starter quarterback for Cleveland. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, we'll see, man. I don't know. It's looking kind of crazy for him.
100 days away, though. I'm excited. I love the NFL.
Good segue. We're like, woo, yep, 100 days away. We're just going to go ahead and go with that.
Yes. Any final thoughts, ladies, before we say goodbye to the audience?
No, I'm so sorry I jumped on late. I had to get my kid from daycare, but I really appreciate you guys for having me on. It's always such a great conversation when I get with you guys. So anytime you guys want to have me on, I am definitely here. So don't forget about the people because you guys are killing it.
Yes, thank you so much, Carolina Teague. Please go follow her with all the madness that she has going on in San Antonio. There's a lot to catch up with her. So make sure you're locked in with Carolina Teague. And this is Root the Truth. Sensei, do you have any final thoughts before we say goodbye to the audience?
I do. For any of the Carolina Teague haters, I will fight you personally.
Right.
So leave my good South Side.
She got a lot of friends. Be careful, y'all. She got a lot of friends.
Yeah. She got friends in high places, and we don't play.
I got more connections than AT&T, so anybody.
I love it. Shout out to the Tampa Bay Lightning that are going to be having Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals in the Stanley Cup. Super excited for that. We're going against the New York Rangers that completely obliterated the Hurricanes yesterday in a Game 7. So really excited for that. Stay locked in. Game 1 is tomorrow night.
Yep, and make sure you follow us on all of our social media platforms. Also, and as well, Carolina T, when are we getting the mixtape? So we know you're a rapper, so can we get the mixtape?
Wait, she a rapper too?
I mean, I've seen the freestyle. I've seen the freestyle. So I'm just wondering when.
Get out of here!
I'm just wondering when.
Whenever you want to come back on the show and spit a freestyle, let us know.
Y'all gotta give me a topic, and I will spit a freestyle because that's just how I roll. Like I'm
legendary.
So give me a topic. I will write a freestyle and I will rap bars like all day long.
Let's go.
First here on the Sports Senseis. We are over and out. Make sure to follow and hit the smash button for the ASAP Network. All sports, all plays. You guys have a great night, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
See y'all next week.
Have a great night, everybody.